Welcome back, Rangers. This is me, Anthony.marshjr, aka PRLostGalaxy2014, with a brand new video podcast. And this time it's another Power Rangers related podcast, as always. Bringing you podcast 69 here on Terra Ventures Conference Hall, presented by my self-devoted fan page on Facebook. If you haven't seen it, check it out now. The link is on the bottom below and also in the info box of this video. Today I'm going to discuss what is my favorite morphers in Power Rangers. I'm only going to go with the top 5, actually. Well, there's a few of these. Now, selecting of the 20 morphers that are around in the show's history, I just can't decide which is my favorite among all of these morphers. I'm going to exclude the morphers from Samurai and Megaforce because, you see, there are some people that don't like the morphers for Samurai and Megaforce. Well, except for the Super Megaforce morphers, Legendary Morpher and the Silver Morpher, because we just got that. I'm going to talk about the morphers of the previous 19 years of Power Rangers. From among the first 19 that for Mighty Morphin the Samurai, that was my top best. But unfortunately, the Samurai morphers, however, are the worst. Next to the Jungle Fury morphers. They're not that interesting. So for the top 5, well, when I do this, now I know you guys are thinking, well, since you guys see the Power Morpher on the top, since this was the first and the original and the iconic, you would expect that it would be in my number 1 list, but you'll see when I go through the top 5 and, you know, what is my top 5 all-time favorite Power Rangers morphers. Now, the Jungle Fury morphers and the RPM morphers, Samurai and Megaforce morphers, are going to be excluded from here because, well, say for Samurai and Samurai, RPM, and Jungle Fury, because their morphers are pretty much the worst in my opinion. They're not that great. In this photo, they never even bother adding Rowanite's morpher next between the Gosei morpher and the Legendary morpher. Well, that's okay because Rowanite is not technically considered a Power Ranger, so that's why his morpher is being excluded. And same go for the Magnum Defender's morpher from Lost Galaxy, which is aka the Aura Changer from Die Ranger. That's also excluded from this image. Plus, the Titanium morpher from Lightspeed Rescue is excluded from this image. And same go for the Samurai, the Green Samurai Ranger's morpher from Ninja Storm. That's also excluded. And that's half about it here with that. And the Sunglass morphers from Jungle Fury is excluded from here as well. So anyway, among these, let's go over my top 5. So I'm going to go with number 5, and I'm going to say at number 5, when I thought about this, when I planned what I was going to say about this last night, would be the SPD Delta morpher from Power Rangers SPD. Now, the reason why it's my all-time, the reason why I liked this morpher is because the reason why the SPD morpher is very likable, because there is 2 distinct different modes. One, when the Rangers prepare to fight Grum's monsters and stuff, when the Rangers suit up and get ready to stop what forces come around the New Tech City and so forth, they yell out SPD Emergency, and the back flat piece with the SPD logo flips open, and then you see lights. You know, there are 2 different lights when the Rangers morph. There is a button on the right that activates the morpher. Even though I never had the toy of it though, but I wish I did. And then 2 is when the Rangers defeat a monster before destroying it, they do a judgment mode, which makes them, you know, determine if the monster is guilty or not guilty. That's one of the best things about this morpher. I wish the Time Force morphers had this function. The Time Force current morpher had this function, if only, but in Time Force though, when the Rangers defeat any of Ran 6's mutants to be captured, they just capture the monster during a Megazord battle without killing the mutant. But SPD would do the same thing a little, but they would just defeat the monster explodes, and is captured in a prisoner card for the Rangers to keep. like of course, because you see, this is why the SPD was so akin to Time Force in a way, because of those whole not killing a monster, just capture the monster and just have it, being put in solitary confinement. The honorable mention, though, from the SPD Morpher line would have to be the Omega Ranger's Morpher. Although the Omega Ranger is a great Ranger, but although he lacks a lot of character development, but has none. But unfortunately, eventually what makes the Omega Ranger great and his Morpher is a bit more reminiscent to the Turbo Morphers and the Xeonizers, but it's just only dismounted for the Omega Ranger, where you can turn the knob on the right, for the Omega Ranger to, you know what I get, because I have no worries. It's a great looking Morpher, but too bad the Omega Ranger's Morpher, like I said, is not included here on this list for some reason, because it seems like they didn't want to include it on here. Sorry for me to take this slow, because it's hard for me to say what is my favorite Morpher and why do I like them. There's just no full explanations. I guess I'm just not good at making explanations with things. Number 4. Sorry, we haven't even got to number 3 yet. Number 4 would have to be number 4 would have to be the Time Force Morphers, which consists of Chronomorphers for the 5 core team, and the Quantum Rangers Quantum Morpher and Time Force. Now, I'm going to start with the Chronomorphers first, because I still have the toy of the Chronomorpher, along with the rest of my other toys of my Power Rangers toy collection. There's not really much to say about the Chronomorpher, though. It does identifies DNA matches of what Ranger possesses, uses the Chronomorpher, but as explained in Reinforcements of as explained in Force from the Future Part 2, when Jen gave the Morphers to Trip, Katie, and Lucas to the Morpher about the Morpher, that in order for all 5 Rangers to use assets of the Morphers to become the Time Force Rangers, they have to get someone that is closer to Alex's DNA to be the Red Ranger, while in the year of where the season took place in the year 2001 the whole time. So they had to choose Wes as this procedure of past sense, so that way the Chronomorphers are fully activated with the DNA confirmed. But as for Eric's Quantum Ranger Morpher, now the Quantum Ranger Morpher looks really pretty much more like a similar version of a Morpher. I just can't think of it from the top of my head. I think it kind of makes me feel like it's very reminiscent to the Astro Morpher from In Space, but suited for a 6th Ranger. And when I look at the Quantum Morpher, now suppose if this was like the Red Ranger's additional Morpher or something, like a Battleizer Morpher. It would be, I don't know how to describe it. I forgot what I remember saying it last night before I recorded this before I recorded it today, but I just couldn't decide what to say about the Morpher. As soon as Eric morphs into the Quantum Ranger, when he does the command called Quantum Power. Now, as seen in the episode Quantum Quest, with stock footage from the respective Time Ranger episode they used for that, the word fire suddenly appears. Because of course I keep stammering, sorry. The Quantum Ranger Sentai name in Time Ranger was Time Fire, because he's a darker version of the Red Ranger with black accents, but also has a red suit, and is a similar version of the Red Ranger. There is just no other explanations, but I think the Quantum Ranger's Morpher looks much more awesome next to the Titanium Morpher and Tommy's Green Ranger / White Ranger Power Morpher. Number 3 would be the Xeonizers from Power Ranger Zeo. Reason why? I'll tell you why I like the Xeonizers a lot from Zeo. Because since I don't hear nobody talk about Power Ranger Zeo, I think the Xeonizers is one of the best looking Morphers I have ever seen. Before we had the Transmorphers from Lost Galaxy, because the Transmorpher in Lost Galaxy does remind me of the Xionizers, but except it's just a one-armed wristband morpher than a two-part wristband morpher like the Xionizers were. The Xionizers are powered by each of the Rangers' respective Zeo Crystal, and with the Zeo Crystal reemerged, it gives the Rangers the Xionizers. There's two different versions of it, but when you see the Gold Ranger's Xeonizer, it's the same as the 5 Core Rangers' Morpher, but except it's fully colored gold. While when you look at the Xeonizer for the 5 main Rangers, it's silver. It has some gold around it, especially in the middle and on the top round piece. And also for the second part of the second part piece of the Xeonizer is when you put the Zeo Crystal in, and you gotta move your arms around, and doing the initial, it's morphing time, Zeo Ranger blank name of color formation. I just wish I wish I had the Xeonizer because it looks really cool. Although I never had the Power Morpher, never had the Turbo Morpher, never had the Astro Morpher, but the only few Morphers from among all of these from Power Rangers I've ever had was the Lost Galaxy Trans Morpher, Lightspeed Rescue's Lightspeed Rescue Morpher, and the Titanium Morpher, Time Force's Chrono Morpher, excluding the Quantum Morpher, Wild Force's Growlphone, and then the last, that was the last time I've ever had a Morpher from Power Rangers, and then right now to this point is the Gosei Morpher, Legendary Morpher from Mega Force and Super Mega Force. So that was the last time I've ever had a Morpher from Power Rangers as a toy was Wild Force's Growlphone and the Luna Wolf Rangers' Morpher. But anyway, though, the Xeonizers are awesome. The reason why, as stated, they're two-part morphers where you gotta swing your arms around, doing all this, doing an X formation. But when we see the Rangers use the Turbo Morphers when they yell shifting the turbo, the combination is just, when they have to move their arms around to do the morph formation routine, it's kind of awkward and cliche and a little stupid. That's why I've always liked the Zeo Ranger morph formation a lot better than Turbo's morph formation. Because Turbo's morph formation just really sucks. It's like when you pull out the key to activate the Turbo Morpher, it's like you're jacking off, and then when you do the shift in the turbo call, you'd be like, it's like when you move your arms around, it's like you're jacking off with your arms or something. It's like your arms is jacking off or something. I don't like that. Number 2 would be the Lightspeed Morphers from Lightspeed Rescue. And for the honorable mention is the Titanium Morpher, exclusively for these Power Rangers and also for Lightspeed Rescue, because before I talk about the Rescue Morphers in particular, because I used to have that as a toy alongside the Lost Galaxy Transmorpher and Chrono Morpher from Time Force and Growlphone from Wild Force. What makes the Titanium Morpher so unique? It is the first, I believe, the first official American-made Morpher for Power Rangers, because the Titanium Ranger in Lightspeed Rescue did not have a 6 Ranger counterpart from Go-Go 5, because Go-Go 5 only focused on the 5 core Rangers. So the Titanium Morpher has to be American-made. It's not from Sentai. In fact, I don't think it's from a Sentai show. But I like the function, but there's only one function. There's a button that presses the midsection of the Morpher. When Ryan goes Titanium Power, he morphs, Titanium Ranger appears, boom. No other function though. But I do think the Battle Booster Morpher from Lightspeed looks a lot durable and also very usable as well. Well, there are additional Battleizer Morphers, but even though the girl Rangers, Dana and Kelsey also have them, not just the guys, but the girls do too as well. But I wish, like in Power Rangers in Space, when I get to its Morpher, because I forgot to bring up the Astro Morpher. I'll get to that in a minute. When the Rangers press this button, this numeral button, that numeral button, etc., there is a certain mode and power ability to activate the Battle Booster, and what mode you're doing this and doing that. But I wish I had that Morpher as well. That could have been suitable as a Battleizer Morpher for mainly Carter, because I don't like the Trans Armor Cycle Battleizer and Lightspeed, it's crap. Though the mega battles for Chad and Joel, though, with the use of the battle boosters, the battle boosters also give them Battleizer armor as well. But yeah. So, but the main attraction was the rescue morphers. Now, like I said, I used to have that morpher as a kid, but at the time 10 years ago today, when I got rid of every toy that I've had, including some Power Ranger toys, a lot of them, actually whatever toys I had of Power Rangers, mainly from the original Saban era, I cannot believe I gave away my Lightspeed Rescue Morpher, the primary morpher of the 5 main Rangers. Why did I give it away? I'll never explain. Well, it's hard for me because you see, it's been 10 years. I should have never gave it away. That's why I'm stuck with the Time Force Chronomorph and the Wild Force Growlphone and the Lunar Wolf Phone Morpher, and that's it. And somehow I lost my Lost Galaxy Transmorpher. Looking at images of that, I just wish I had that Transmorpher again. God. The only function though, there are 4 buttons on the Lightspeed Morpher. The press on. Other morphers, they have like certain buttons to tell which button is when the Rangers morph, which button is some of the other additional buttons that are never really hardly been used. But the primary button, I think the red one, I believe, because the last time I checked, or actually that button that's green, that where they press to be the Rangers, activates their morph call, and I just can't tell because it's just been so long since I've had that morpher. Though the only function that makes this morpher a little interesting to me is that it flips open. The center round piece of it flips open in a 360-degree angle, and then there you go. That's just half about it, but nothing else to say. But I think the titanium morpher though is a lot better, though, in my opinion. So before I pick my number 1 pick, I'm not going to tell you. The Astro Morpher from Power Rangers in Space is an honorable mention. Now, I can't include, I don't want to continue through lists of Power Ranger related topics without any references and mentions of anything for Power Rangers in Space in it. Because many of you are Power Rangers in Space fans and all, even if you are still watching something on a channel that's devoted to me obsessing over Lost Galaxy so much. But when you look at the Astro Morpher from Power Rangers in Space, it looks really cool. And so that means you guys are saying Lost Galaxy's Transmorpher is crap, and the Magna Defender Morpher is a little bit so-so, and the Astro Morphers from Space are better. Well, and technically in your words, yes. But in my words, yes and no at the same time, because I'm still defending whatever Lost Galaxy had in its arsenal for Rangers and Morphers and things. I will defend. But anything from Power Rangers in Space will always be better than what Lost Galaxy had to offer, I think, in your words and opinions. Though the Astro Morpher, now this is pretty much the morph sequence. Well, if you can tell from the show, when the Rangers yelled "Let's rock it," the shot when the Rangers had to press the button 533, I believe, and then so forth, and they had the morph call initiated. The morphic sequence initiated. I think that's the code number, because I think the last time I checked, no, actually, I think the code number was 355, and then they would morph. I gotta check the morph sequence later, and see if I'm correct or wrong about that. Zane, as the Silver Ranger, has the same morpher as well, because all six Space Rangers have the same morpher as each other. Though when you look at previous seasons between Mighty Morphin to Turbo, in Space there with the following 3 series, Mighty Morphin to Turbo, and then afterwards Lost Galaxy to Super Mega Force, each 6 Ranger would have different morphers unique from the primary 5. But as for the Battleizer morpher that Andros had, that the Phantom Ranger gave him, in the episode where the Delta Megazord was introduced, the Delta Discovery, I believe. Now the Battleizer. No wonder that word was going to hint exactly what was going to happen later on in the season. Why was there an additional morpher only for the Red Ranger? Because You see, since Power Rangers in Space evolved Power Rangers to the next level, the Battleizer is what introduced. The term Battleizer totally introduced us to something even far much cooler than their standard morphers and things and Zords. But Battleizer morphers and such things like devices like that are way better. Is only exclusive for the Red Ranger. But when I come back next time and discuss in podcast 70 of what is my top best and top worst Battleizers and Power Rangers, mainly for Red Ranger, top best and worst Red Ranger Battleizers, I'll tell you that, I ain't going to tell you because I'm automatically going to put the In Space Battleizer armor at number 1 anyway when I get to it, when I do that podcast next time. And, I just really like the function of the use of it when it's, even in connection with the Delta Megazord. Although the Delta Megazord is still destroyed, the Battleizer is, the Battleizer for Andros when it used to be the Battleized Red Ranger is completely useless, as seen in Countdown to Destruction Part 1. But there is one thing I've just never caught on, when I first saw Power Rangers in Space as a kid. And when I saw the Battleizer that was still on Andros' wrist. Even in seeing it in the Mission City episodes. When Andros told Carlos and Sylvie not to press that additional button to morph with the Battleizer, it would do something harmful. But unfortunately, when Andros was down for the count and when Sylvie pressed the button when Andros was looking, but until he found out that when she pressed that button that gave him invincible Battleizer armor, which made the Battleizer concept stand out very cool and all. But I felt, at first, even most of us thought if anyone presses that button, I think it was a red button, I don't know, I have to check, or look at a clip of that scene again from that Mission City episode when Andros was about to fight Vaxacker, the monster of the week of that episode. And when I saw the morph sequence for the with the Battleizer, it was going to be, I don't know. I'll find out when I discuss my top 5 best and worst Red Ranger Battleizer podcast next time when I come back. Okay, for the namesake, for all of you fans, old school 90s Power Ranger fans, number 1 of best Power Ranger morphers for the hell of it, even for the sake of Zordon, is obviously the iconic Power Morpher from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as number 1. Number 1, the Power Morpher. Because, let's face it, there's simply to ask. It's iconic, it's a better morpher than the rest of the 19 that came before it. Because back then, as us 90s kids, a lot of us loved the original Power Morpher from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because even if you're a Super Sentai fan and has watched the 50 episodes of Kyoryu Sentai Zoo Ranger so much, and then you see, when you see the Zoo Rangers go out, Dino Buckler, but what they do different in Mighty Morphin is not like what they did in Zoo Ranger. Though you have the background of the Dino Buckler in front with the words Zoo Ranger omitted and put Power Rangers up there to, mix match between footage shots of the Power Ranger's name with the Zoo Ranger footage shots of the Power Morpher with the actors in the Morpher shot. When the Rangers go, before Tommy, the whole Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Saber-tooth Tiger, Tyrannosaurus thing. And then when Tommy came around and when he got the gold power morpher, when he had the Dragonzord power coin that originally Rita's, he would go Dragonzord, and when the Green Ranger powers were no more, he was given another gold power morpher, this time with the White Tiger Zord power coin, which is mainly only American exclusive, because in Die Ranger we didn't have morphers like that. The morphers they had in Die Ranger was exactly one of the morphers that they would later throw in Lost Galaxy for the Magnum Defender. That's why I didn't want to include the Magnum Defenders as morpher in this list, because there's just too many morphers. I said I only picked 5, so I'm going to pick my top 5 best Power Ranger morphers. But the only thing that makes the morphers unique is the morpher and with the power coins in it itself. There's no other function but the Rangers pulling out their power morphers, doing the whole "it's morphin' time," roll call, because that's the most iconic thing. Because when you look at, because I know many of you are always saying this is why the other teams of Power Rangers after Mighty Morphin sucks. Their morphers are crap. Their morph calls suck. All of them suck. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the best. They're better than all the other seasons. That's bull crap. Same old bull crap I hear from other people. Yes, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers will always be the best, but even though as odd and cheesy and corny as it was, it's still the most beloved series. I get it. Everything from that series, from the original series, is the best. Their Megazords, their Morphers, their Rangers, their villains, everything. The Bulk and Skull moments was the best of it. When you say other seasons, even if you're tired of Power Rangers or was a fan, say that the other seasons are crap. You need to give them a chance, even if you don't want to. But I'm going to, when discussing these the iconic Power Morpher, I am not going to include the Power Morpher from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, because there is a simple reason. They're the same version as the show, but they have the overall color of the respective Ranger on them. And also, I do not like the morph call in the movie because it's in a different order. I understand that the movie was in a different universe and all, and had to tell the story how the Rangers got the ninja powers and all that crap, but that which spoiled me for Ninja Quest, even as a 3-year-old kid. But I just really hated to see why they did that. 19 years ago, going on 20 with the movie, and why they spoiled us with the Ninja Quest story. How they got the ninja powers and ninja zords. But the morph call in the movie, though, was different. You start with Kimberly first, then Billy, then Rocky, Adam, Aisha, and then Tommy. I mean, going from pterodactyl, triceratops, tyrannosaurus, mastodon, saber-tooth tiger, but though in the movie when Tommy, morphs into the White Ranger, he just says White Tiger rather than saying Tiger Zord like he did in season 2 of the show. That's why I am not including the Power Morphers from the movie, because they're the same versions, but they look a little bit flattened. More like morphers that don't even functionally work. Now, I'm not going to tell you about the power coins with the Power Morpher, because about the issues that happened since Ninja Quest, because I'm not going to say it. And also, which Rangers still had their powers, even though they had to pass the torch when the respective Rangers of Mighty Morphin had to leave, which had to leave, like Jason still had his power coin up until Forever Red. And then, Adam till, always a chance of once a Ranger, that sort of crap. I'm not going to explain all of that, because I know my history of Power Rangers, and I know why they had to, because the Mighty Morphin powers are still iconic and legendary. That's why they're, there's nothing much to say about the Power Morpher. It's iconic. It's one of the best morphers. It's the first and original in line of Power Ranger morphers. So, for all of you that say the other morphers of Power Rangers suck, then you know what? If you don't like the other morphers, then maybe you should go yourselves. I'm just saying it for those that don't like the other Power Ranger, the other morphers in the other teams of Rangers, especially the Megaforce morphers. If you think the Samurai morphers are cool, then you guys can go yourselves as well, because the morphers in Samurai are the worst. To be honest and tell the truth. So I have to say though, this comes to my conclusion of what is my top best and top worst morphers and Power Rangers. I had to bring up an honorable mention of a morpher from In Space. Actually, 2 of them, and 2 in Lightspeed, plus the Battle Booster. Nothing else to say, but I'm going to close this. Thanks for watching. This is me, Anthony.marshjr, aka PRLostGalaxy2014. Signing off, and I'll see you guys right back here with another, podcast of listing of my top best, top worst of, Battleizer, Armor, and Power Rangers for Red Rangers. See you guys right back here next time. Terra Ventures Conference Hall is officially now closed.